Hello and happy day. Welcome to New Age Custom Farming. If you're new here, we are a custom farming operation in Wisconsin, and we recently got asked in a video for those of you who may not be from a farming audience to explain what custom farming is. And today is kind of a little prep day before we go into full-on custom farming tomorrow, which is for us chopping forages for dairy farmers. So we'll kind of explain custom farming in today's video as we're preparing to go and do a custom job tomorrow. Got it?
Got it.
Break. Well, it got to be a lot later in the day, and I never really took the time to explain what our custom farming operation all consists of, but we're going to go through a quick video and explain it. And also, before I even get into this video, watch the whole thing through, and then if you have any further questions about custom farming, what it all entails, at least for our operation, let us know in the comments, because as you guys know, we are in the process of chopping corn right now, and we do that for about a month, so it gives us ample time to be able to answer these questions in upcoming videos. So what custom farming is, at least when it comes to our operation, when you see custom harvesting on a lot of other channels and stuff, and like just in farming in general, you will likely see custom harvesters that are using combines like that you can see right here. So there are custom harvesting crews that travel up and down the US, and all they do, or I shouldn't say all they do, but their main role is to use their combines to harvest grains for farms. They basically start in the south and then work their way north harvesting. They are hired out by the farms or different places as crews to come through, harvest their product, and then move on to the next job. Now, when it comes to Wisconsin or the Midwest states and what we do custom forage harvesting. So you see behind me our New Holland Forage FR, that's our FR 780, that's our FR 700 right there. Our form of custom harvesting is custom harvesting forages for dairy farms. So what that means is we are hired out by different farms to come in and harvest their hay or their corn silage. So the custom harvesters that I spoke about earlier, they're harvesting corn as well, but they are just shelling the corn for the farmers, where we are coming in and we're taking off the whole corn plant for them to then use to feed their cattle. So when it's time for hay to be harvested, we get called by the different farmers, and then we kind of put those farmers in different order based off the first crop and who calls us when everything is ready. And so we get called out. We will send our mowing crew out, so they will go and mow the hay down. Then we will send our merging crew out. They will merge the hay into the windrows, and then we will send our chopping crew out, and they will then actually chop up the forages. So then we take the forages that we are harvesting and take them back to the farm that we are harvesting it for, and then depending on what they use for storage for their crops or for their forages for their dairy cattle, we also play a role kind of in that. So if they need to bag it, we provide a bagger. So they hire us to come and bag it. So you've seen our bagger before. So we'll bring our bagger there, and then our collectors will all back up to the bagger, unload into that, and we'll create bags for them. Or if they have a bunker, sometimes they themselves have a push tractor or a packing tractor, or we will hire out our blade and our big T9. So our big tractor will go out with a blade that then helps pack the feed into the bunkers, and then it's good to go that way. Or sometimes they themselves will have their own packing tractor and stuff, and so we don't have to provide any of that. All we have to do is provide the manpower and the people to go and chop the hay and bring it back to their farm. Very similar situation when it comes to chopping corn, but as we've mentioned before in previous videos, the window for chopping corn is a little bit different for chopping hay. So chopping hay, we do 4 crops of hay for the dairy farms. So it starts in May-ish, and then we'll do June, July, and then August, and the very beginning of September is when we kind of wrap up chopping hay. So 4 crops of hay, and it's about 28-ish days in between each crop, and then the cycle just continues. But when it comes to chopping corn, we have to get because about like half their ration or so is chopped corn. So we have to chop a lot of corn acres in a short period of time. So that's when we are typically running our 2 choppers. and we'll have 2 different crews out, sometimes all at the same farm just hammering it out. Sometimes one crew will go one place, one crew will go a different place. And it's the same premise though of we go through, we chop their fields for them, harvest it for them, we take it back to their farm for them, and then again, depending on how they want to store it, whether it's in bags or in a bunker, and if they need us to cover the bunker for, or not cover the bunker, hopefully they cover the bunker themselves, because that's like everyone's least favorite job. But we do help all our customers with covering their bunker depending on the situation. Anyway, so farmers will, same premise too, is a farmer will call us and say, hey, my corn will be ready to be chopped at XYZ, blah, blah, blah. I have X amount of acres. And then we're like, okay, this job will take us X amount of time. And then that's also kind of how we figure out our plan of action of who's going where and when and what order the customers are all going in. Because obviously you might have a situation where it's like one day and 5 guys call you and are like, hey, we're ready to go right now. So obviously we have to like weigh out who, where, when, what, all those logistics. So we can answer a lot of more logistic questions later on in videos, because that's more of a guy question. Mason handles a lot of the logistics right now. He's kind of transitioning into that piece of it and stuff. So that's definitely a question we can answer in the future. But same premise, we come in, we chop, we either bag it for them, put it in their bunker, we maybe help pack, or they pack themselves. And then that's the custom harvesting part of our job and of our farm. But we also do another part of custom farming, and I will walk to a different part of the farm and explain that for you. And then finally, the other part of what makes our custom farming operation a custom farming operation is that we custom raise heifers for a dairy farm. So that's another thing you'll see a lot of dairy farmers do, is they may not raise their young stock themselves. So oftentimes they may raise their heifers up to about 400 pounds, 4 months-ish. I go in pounds because I like base everything off of our steers and what we do for steers, which is more based off of pounds. But age-wise, they're about 4 months old, and then they will send them to another location that raises the heifers for them. So that's what we do for a dairy farm. We chop for the same dairy farm as well. So we have their heifers from around 4 months of age until they give birth to a calf, so around 2-ish years. We try and send them back about 2 weeks before they give birth to a calf. So that's another aspect that's custom, or the custom part of what we do, is that we custom raise the heifers. So the dairy farmers, they'll have a say in stuff. Like we work with them, we kind of get all the lists from them of who to check if they are pregnant or not, who should be like where they should be and what age group and stuff, to know then like, are they supposed to be breeding heifer? Should they be in the breeding pen? If they're in the breeding pen, should we check them if they're pregnant? If we're checking them if they're pregnant, how pregnant are they? And then when their due date is, then we know when to bring them back up to the dairy. So they are still very much hands-on, at least when it comes to what the operation that we work with. They're still fairly hands-on in a lot of things. I can't say that's the same for every farm that does what we do, but that's the gist of what we do. So these ladies behind me, they are pregnant little mamas. Yeah, they are pregnant moms, so they will be heading back to the dairy farm soon. When they give birth to their calf, then they'll be cows and be a whole part of their dairy herd. And then behind me are steers. These aren't custom, these are just our steers that we raise. So that's kind of the skinny on what makes New Age Custom Farming a custom farming operation. And then for those of you who are in agriculture, if you have any more deep questions you want us to answer, or any other insights you want to provide about what custom farming is. And then if you're not in agriculture and have just further questions or things you want us to clarify, also always let us know. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and we'll get back to chopping and custom farming tomorrow. Bye.